your thoughts on Jarace and Marcus getting drafted in the first round? And also, were Detroit and Indiana, did you hear from them more than other NBA teams about those two players?
Not necessarily. I talked to a lot of teams that didn't really have a lottery pick, but was hoping he would slide maybe one more spot. And they were looking to, make a move to get Jarace. Marcus, I probably answered more calls about Marcus than Jarace. A lot of people liked Marcus. A lot of people liked Jarace. I think one of the things that we kept hearing from the teams is, it's much like Quentin Grimes. They go win prepared. They put in their work, and they play in a system that gives them an opportunity to showcase their skill set in a very organized, winning manner. But we have a lot of scouts. I think it's to the point now, after all these years, that our kids are used to seeing NBA scouts at practice. And when they're there, it doesn't change how I do things. So most of the time, I don't even notice them. But I have friends. I have a lot of friends in the NBA, so there's certain teams that are there a lot, like Detroit. Detroit was at our practice a lot, but you don't know who. I don't talk to them, so I don't know who they're looking at, unless they're a friend and they stay after just to speak to me or something. But very proud of Jarace. I think when Jarace came here, there were some expectations on him, but I make sure those kids understand that nobody's opinion or what words are said means nothing. Listen to your coaches, and you'll be fine. Start listening to other people, that's when you start getting a little bit of trouble. So Jarace listened to his coach, the coaching staff, and his teammates. And he has a great mother and father. I think that matters. So Jarace was raised the right way. I thought regardless of where he went, he'd probably be a first-round pick. That was the kid that I recruited. That kid's going to be a first-round pick. But I think that was not his goal. Jarace's goal was to be a top 10 pick, to be a lottery pick. And so from that standpoint, I'm really happy for him and proud of him that he reached his goal. Marcus, I was at my lake house, I think, the last time I talked to Marcus last year, when he told me he's coming back. And I said, Marcus, what is it you want to accomplish? And of course, Marcus and Jarace both, their first response would be, a team goal. They want to win, want to compete for a national championship, do all those things. But Marcus wanted to be a first-round pick. That's one of the big reasons personally why he came back, is he felt like he could do better than being, somewhere mid, even late second round. So for Jarace to go number 8 and Marcus to go 25, it's very gratifying for me as a coach, and just very proud of those two young men for reaching their goals.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Greg Bailey with KTRK. Greg, please go ahead.
Good morning, Kelvin. If I could follow up on that just a little bit, just the opportunity in front of those two young men that you said they've worked so hard for. What kind of conversations were you able to have with them, and the impact that this is going to have on their immediate future? They both seem like they are in great spots to make an impact.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of teams. I shouldn't mention the teams' names. That's not fair to them. But the teams that inquired the most about Marcus had playmakers. And I felt that would be a good spot for him. With kids like Cunningham, Ivy, the way they're set up, Troy Weaver, who I've known for a long time, the general manager, and Monty Williams, the coach. It's just a great spot for Marcus. I mean, couldn't ask for a better place. He's got a playmaker. He's got young guys that are growing together. Detroit's an awesome basketball city. They're starving for a winner. Marcus proved that you can go to college and play 4 years and be a first-round draft choice. And I'm just really happy for him. The credibility and respect that Monty has. Monty will appreciate Marcus. Marcus shows up every day. He's not a two out of 5 kid or a 3 out of 7 kid. Marcus is every day. Jarace getting with a veteran coach that has such a great track record for development, and Rick Carlisle is another great opportunity for him. They've got some good veteran players and good young players, and Jarace will fit right in there. Jarace's best days are way ahead of him. Marcus is probably set up to help more from day one, just because of his age and his experience and maturity. But I think the opportunity for Jarace is to be as good as he wants to be. Jarace can be a star. And that's if he'll continue to put into work, and he's with a great organization and a great not just sports state or basketball state, but a tremendous basketball city in Indianapolis.
Thank you, Greg. We'll go to Adam Zubanich from Houston Public Media. Adam, apologies if I butchered your last name there. Go ahead with your question for Coach Sampson.
Actually, you got it right. You're one of the few that's actually got it right on the first try. So.
Thank you very much.
Coach Sampson, my question is about, transitioning to the Big 12. You've been there before. Obviously, you guys have built, a national contender here in your existing conference. But, going to the Big 12 with some other national contenders year in and year out, what are going to be the challenges there? How do you maintain the level of success you had? On the flip side, are there going to be advantages? Will being in the Big 12 even help you recruit better players moving forward? So kind of 2-part question there.
The thing I remember about the Big 12, I think the difference in the Big 12 when I was there now is nothing at the top. There's 4 teams, Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Texas. All 4 of those teams went to the Final Four while we were there. We followed a Final Four up with an Elite 8. I think Rick Barnes at Texas also had an Elite 8. Coach Sutton at Oklahoma State had 2 Final Fours. Kansas, multiple Final Fours. So I don't think there's a lot of difference in top of the league. Top of the league might have been better then. Where the league is different is from the middle down. Every night you're playing a first, second, or third round NCAA tournament game 16 times. That's where the difference is. But I think the thing with your roster in this league is your depth. You got to have really good depth. Up front, you got to be able to bring in bodies, and in the backcourt, you got to keep guys fresh, because every game is an emotional, psychological, physical fight. And you got to be in a position to do that. As far as answering your other questions, I have no idea. We just kind of, every year we do the same thing. We always lose a bunch of guys and try to replace them with some new guys and coach them up, throw them out there, and try to win a game at them. That's kind of what we do. I don't think about it way too much more than that.
Thank you, Adam. We'll go to Daniel Gotero from KHOU. Daniel, please go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Question about Kellen. With the contracts being finalized and all that stuff, what has really impressed you the most about Kellen the last couple of years and his maturity as a coach, kind of growing into his role and how he's really helped you, the staff, the players, and all that?
Just his dependability, his maturity, his understanding. You know, when you have a son, you go from warming his bottle up and putting him to bed at night and playing hide and seek and a little basketball here and there, and taking him swimming, or just watching him grow up. But he's changed a lot since he's been here, and I think his path has been good. He worked for an outstanding coach, Danny Casper at Stephen F. Austin, and then he went and had some failure at Appalachian State. He worked with Jeff Capel at Oklahoma, and so he's had different roles at different places, and he's able to gather or learn things everywhere he's gone. I think sometimes, and I'm big on learning from failure. I think Kellen's been really good at that. But the thing that I've tried to do with all my assistants, Daniel, is get them to think outside the box. Don't think you have to be traditional or conventional. It's okay to be different, and it's okay to put yourself out there. And if it doesn't work, then figure out why and go make it better. And I think Kellen's really grown in those areas. He's going to be a good coach. He's and he's ready too. He's probably, I keep thinking one day I'm gonna come in and the stuff's gonna be in my office. So when that happens, I guess that's when it's time to go.
Thank you, Daniel. Go to Chris Baldwin from Paper City Magazine. Chris, please go ahead with your question for Coach Sampson.
Hey, Kelvin.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, have you seen your player development success? Stories like Marcus, Quentin. Are you seeing that have more and more of an impact in recruiting? Are more people recognizing what's been going on for a while?
Yeah, I think people's recognized that. I think Jarace, what pick was Quentin? Was he 25? 20 something. But Quentin, Jarace going number 8, Marcus 25. But Armani Brooks played in the NBA. Matter of fact, I think he set a record for something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a small sample size, but how many threes he made in the X amount of games, whatever. Damian Dotson. It's not just these guys. It's Damian Dotson. For their few years there was improving. And sometimes you got to be with the right team and the right coach. Armani Brooks playing in the NBA. There's no doubt in my mind if Josh Carlton got with the right program that he'd play minutes, he could play in the NBA. Fabian White is knocking on the door. Nate Hinton is knocking on the door. Dejan Giroux is knocking on the door. And the thing that I appreciate about the Miami Heat, and I think this is a great lesson and an inspiration and motivation for a lot of kids that don't get drafted. Don't give up on your dreams if you don't get drafted. Just because you get drafted doesn't guarantee you're going to make it. And if you don't get drafted, doesn't guarantee you won't make it. Look at Miami. Look at all the kids they had that didn't get drafted. We've got a lot of guys that have not been drafted, but they're just waiting on the right opportunity. And I watch them in here during the summer. everybody from Quentin's up here quite a bit. Nate's in here quite a bit. Justin Gorham, Fabian, Josh Carlton, Dejan. I'm forgetting a bunch of them, but all our guys come home. You know, and that's one of the things I love about our program is our guys stay connected. Our staff does a great job of keeping everybody together. Coach Bishop, John Houston, they rely on them to come and get treatment, lift. So they get treated just like they were here. You know, we still get on them. I still get on them about certain things in their workouts if I don't like it. But yeah, I think our player development has just been going on a long time. You know, we're not doing anything different today that we did 8 years ago. Just more, I guess, more well known now.
Thank you, Chris. We'll go to Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle. Joseph, please go ahead, sir.
Morning, Kelvin.
Good morning, Joseph.
Kelvin, from your staff reports and the parts that you're involved in, what have you heard or seen from the newcomers like JoJo, Jacob, Cordell said, in terms of how they've transitioned this summer?
Well, they're transitioning. They haven't transitioned. Transition begs to say they're transitioned and they're on their way.
How are they coming along?
Yeah. Well, I think they're transitioning is they're fighting their battles right now. The good thing about our veteran players, just this morning we had a couple of different kind of workouts, and I was watching JoJo Tugler and Jacob McFarland, said a lot. Cordell Jefferson had surgery on his wrist. He broke his wrist, which showed up on an x-ray after he got here. I said, son, did you know you had a broken wrist? He said, well, it'd been bothering me. I said, yeah, I can see why it's broke. So his father said now we were talking to his mom and dad drove over from Arlington for the surgery. And his dad said, now I know why he was struggling at the free throw line last year. Pretty good when you play through a broken wrist. I'm gonna say Cordell's pretty tough. But the other kids too, LJ Cryer, Damian Dunn. Those guys are all transitioning, adjusting, but they got they've got great guys that's been through the wars to help them. Ryan Elvin, Jamal, J1, Terrence is still fresh, but Terrence went through this. Emmanuel Sharp, we got a lot of veteran guys that can help these guys navigate their feelings. Am I supposed to feel like this? Why is this so hard? Or whatever. They've got a lot of leadership, and I think that's one of the things I appreciate about our program is very much a player-led program, and that's what you want.
Thank you, Joseph. We'll go to Andy. Andy, go ahead with your question for Coach, please.
Hey, Kelvin, how you doing, sir?
What's good there, Andy? I see you got your locks cropped.
What does that mean? My locks cropped?
Figure it out.
Is it my hair? Does it have to do with my hair?
Locks, Andy, would refer to your hair, and cropped means cut. I mean, my God, son, are you 8 or 80? Locks cropped. You got your locks cropped. What the point is, it looks good. It's an improvement from the bird's nest you had there for about 6 months.
Well, I'll try to keep it trim. There you go. I learned a new phrase. I appreciate
cropped,
it. Thank you.
Cropped. Let's go with cropped.
There we go. I understand that.
There you go.
But sir, my question for you was just about, you kind of talked about the transition to the Big 12, but I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on the kind of the ideas that they've brought to the table under Brett Yormark, and specifically to the one that's going to affect you guys in playing a game in the future against Kansas in Mexico. Are you in support of kind of, I don't know if you can call them outside of the box ideas that Commissioner Yormark has brought to the table, but what are your thoughts on those type of different games? And even the clinic, and you
Brett Yormark is one of those dudes, the first time you meet him, he kind of it's like hit in the head with a rubber mallet. He's very dynamic. I was super impressed with him. I think going forward, he's kind of what the Big 12 needs. He's and you're right, Andy. It is a outside the box thought. Now, I'd much rather somebody else be playing Kansas rather than us. But you know, the thing about the Big 12 is you don't play everybody twice every year, because when you have X amount of teams, you're going to play an unbalanced schedule. You know, if you've got 12 teams, say you got 12 teams, that means to have a balanced schedule, you'd have to play a 22-game conference schedule, right? So everybody plays each other twice. You know, this year, I think we have 14 teams and we have a 16-game schedule. So there's going to be a lot of teams who only play once. So the game with Mexico, the game in Mexico, we were only scheduled to play Kansas once that year. I think we play them home and home this year. So we're scheduled to play them once that year. And so the Mexico game will be a non-conference game. The only negative I see is it takes a home game away from you, you know. So, you know, what I hope is financially Kansas and Houston will be reimbursed from the potential loss of revenue or the gate that we would have for a home game. So let's say that home game, instead of playing Kansas and Mexico City, we start a home and home with Michigan, or we started a home and home. It takes that opportunity away, and also takes the gate or revenue you'd have from a home game. But it fits in line with what he wants with the Big 12. He's very much an outside the box thinker. He's very dynamic, and I've been super impressed with him.
We'll go back to Chris Baldwin with Paper City. Chris, go ahead with your question for Coach.
Does LJ Cryer, does he remind you of anyone else you've coached over the years? Any scorers or specific players?
Well, I saw him in high school more than I've seen him anywhere. You know, we've had probably the best scorer that I've coached since I've been here is Rob Gray. I don't think we've had a more natural scorer than Rob. Corey Davis, you know, we've had kids that could have put up way better numbers if they've been somewhere where they got to shoot all the balls. And, you know, a lot of losing teams have guys that score a lot of points. Well, somebody's got to score them. But we have a lot of guys that sacrifice because they're you know, we play as a team and we're organized and we're disciplined. But LJ, you know, reminds me a little bit of Corey Davis that way. He's got a little Marcus in him. Rob was different than anybody we've had, because we haven't had a guard that could score, shoot, and play out of pick and rolls and pass like Rob. You know, Rob's problem for the NBA, Rob's 6 foot with a 6 foot wingspan, you know, but he's doing great in Europe. But LJ's a scorer, you know, but we've had a bunch of kids at that position, starting with Rob and Corey, Quentin, Marcus. LJ fits right in with that group.
We'll go to Dayon Dunlap. Dayon, go ahead with your question for Coach, please.
Good morning, Coach Sampson.
Hey, good morning, Dayon.
Hey, as development is very prevalent in the program, we talked about development from Kelly and the players. And I know you've been a professional a while. As you evaluate yourself over the last year or the last couple of years, in what areas are you looking to develop or maybe just tweak a little bit from within yourself?
About me personally?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd like to lose a few pounds. I'd like to have a little more energy sometimes. Be a better husband, be a better father, be a better grandfather. Is that what you're talking about?
No, in the realm of basketball, just coaching wise, philosophy, just coaching wise in the realm of basketball program.
Well, you're always trying to get better, Dayon. One of the things that I like to do is so I like to come up here on Sundays and take our games. I don't mind using the iPad on planes. We seem like I'm on a plane a lot this summer. I think I've flown more than I've been on the ground. But I don't mind watching games on the iPad. At home, I'll go in the back room or go upstairs and watch iPad. But I like to come up here on Sundays, and I've got this big monitor here in my conference room, and just take our defensive possessions on certain games and see what we can tweak to get better. I like to take advantage of matchups offensively. Always seeing if we can tweak our offense to make it better. Should we do this, should we do that? Yeah, so I'm always having a lot of things run through my mind, but I don't think but I do that every year, not just this year. I think every coach every year goes into the offseason looking for ways to improve. So this year is no different than any other year for me.
We will go back to Chris Gardner, please. Chris, go ahead, sir.
Coach, what's the status of the work starting or timetable for work on the second floor?
Okay, I hear them hammering away right now. They started demolition, and I've been out of the office a few days, but they're well on their way. Our kids our locker room is on the other side of the visiting locker room, not our game day locker room, the visiting locker room at the Fertitta Center. And then we had to move our nutrition area over to Legends room over at Fertitta Center. So we're completely out of the second floor, and they've got sledgehammers and jackhammers and all kind of equipment tearing that thing up. So hopefully that we're going to try to be in that thing in October. But no, it's even during the season, I was having Zoom sessions with our administrators, making sure this thing was on time. February, March, April, May, and then at some point you say, okay, what day are we starting? And the worst answer you can get is soon. I'm not interested in soon. I said, what day? That means Thursday, June 20, whatever, Monday, June 19th, what day? I need to know a day. That way we can plan going forward. So they gave us a day of June 19th. And that was a federal holiday. So I said, I prefer you guys start on the 20th. So they came in and started on the 20th, and they've been going at it. So it's good. It's good to hear. Who asked that question? You, Chris? Yeah. So yeah, I can hear all the equipment right now as we're speaking.
Thank you, Chris.
Hopefully we're in there in October. You know, our October is it's kind of our practice month, and then we'll have a scrimmage at the end of October. But hopefully we'll be in there, and I'm excited about it. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you, Chris. We'll get time for a few more questions. We'll go back to Adam Zubanich, please. Adam, go ahead, sir.
Coach, another question about the transition to Big 12. Is it a move you're excited about making? Would you prefer to stand pat, maybe somewhere in between? Just want to get your thoughts on that.
I think it's great for the school. I don't think my personal feelings matter, nor should they. I'm part of something. We're all part of something way bigger than ourselves. The University of Houston is bigger than any individual that works here. Our athletic department, we're the men's basketball team within the athletic department. From what I saw when I got here in 2014 to now, we've made great strides in a lot of different areas. But I think there's a ceiling. Our ceiling is low where we're at as far as how much better can we get. But I think in the Big 12, what it does is open the ceiling up for everybody. All of our sports teams, for administrators, and for the city of Houston. This is big. This is great for the city of Houston. So my personal feelings are put to the side. I just think it's a great beginning to, I think, a great partnership between the University of Houston and the Big 12. But the people's going to benefit the most is think how many the businesses, the hotels, the restaurants, the tentacles from that will reach beyond areas I'm even thinking of right now. Apparel, there's just so many areas that can benefit from us going to the Big 12. And you look at, 2 years ago, we're on the outside looking in, trying to figure out how this can happen, But now that we're part of the, we're inside the door. You look at the schools that are not inside, and you see where we were and why it's so important to be inside one of these major conferences right now, because that's where, if you're in a major conference right now, there's just so much, not necessarily confusion, but you're operating in a constant fear of what's going to happen when the next domino falls as far as conference realignment. You just don't know. There's so much. The unknown is what but now that you're in the Big 12, you don't have to worry about that. So that's great. That's great for our university.
Thank you. We'll go back to Chris Baldwin, please, and then Joseph Duarte with the last question for today. Chris, go ahead with your question, Coach, please.
Kelvin, having some older transfers coming in along with Jamal, Juwan, Ryan, does that maturity, does that make a difference for a team?
Absolutely. Was it 2 years ago we lost Marcus and Tremont, that infamous December 23rd day. Look at what we had to replace them. We had a 6-year player in Tajay Moore and a 4th-year player in Kyler Edwards. Had those been 2 freshmen, it's very likely our season would have ended a lot different. But the fact that Tajay was older, had gone through his failures, and had no fear. And then Kyler was just kind of a wily old veteran. He kind of knew how to handle whatever was thrown at him. So there are certain positions got to have some proven veterans. Our backcourt of Jamal, LJ, Damian, those three guys collectively have played a lot of games, won a lot of games, and been a lot of big games. And then you can say the same thing about Emmanuel up front, J1, JVR has been through some battles, but no, he needs to play. This is a season where he just didn't need to be on the bench again. He needs to be in there. He needs to be in there learning and getting experience. Ramon, Terrence, those guys have all been through some wars. So we're not as experienced as we have been in certain spots, but they're not going to get experience if they don't play. So we're going to throw them in there, let them play, get some experience early. And I think going to Australia is never a bad time to go on a foreign trip. Never a bad time. So it's helped every team I've ever coached that went on a foreign trip. But I do think because of our youth and because of the new guys coming in, specifically LJ and Damian, and those freshmen, these practices, the intensity of the practices this summer, and then the being able to play 4 games. And, one of the games that we'll play in Australia is against their national team. I think this is a qualification summer for them, if I'm not mistaken. But playing those guys will be good for us. Usually when we go on these trips, I try to schedule teams that can beat us by 20. That's you want to go get exposed. Sending scores back that we won 100-60. All it is getting the people that don't know whether they're on foot or horseback thinking we're better than we actually are. So I'd rather get beat on these or have teams expose us. So when we come back, number one, it humbles you. And number two, it gives you areas you have to work to improve on. So, going over there and getting smacked a couple of times is never a bad thing.
Our last question of the day, we'll go back to Joseph Walker, please. Joseph, go ahead.
Kelvin, if I could go back to the previous question about the Big 12 and the opportunities that a move like that would present. Have you ever thought, or would you consider naming rights for the practice facility, in terms of revenue, that kind of stuff, if it was there?
That's why it's the Guy V. Lewis Center. That is a naming rights for the practice facility.
I guess like a corporate type deal.
I don't know if that's double dipping or not. That sounds like you're double dipping. There's a lot of people raise money to put Coach Lewis's name on there. So it's like having TDECU stadium and then paying for the naming rights, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden you got an oil and gas company that said, well, we like to too. So you can have TDECU, Chevron, Sunoco, Esso, Exxon Stadium.
Right. Well, when you guys announced Guy V, there was never anything that said in terms of what the, if it was just a in honor of type situation, or if it was tied to some type of financial gift. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I could be wrong, Joseph, but I do think that there were some former players that had a campaign going to raise money to put Coach Lewis's name on that. So I'm not sure if that's a possibility or not. Somebody above my pay grade may have to answer that one.
Anything on schedule that you can tease us on, or anything final?
I don't know what I mean, our non-conference schedules have been done for a long time. I mean, usually I lay out dates I want to play, try to space them out. We got our scrimmage set. I'm gonna bring the good old Braves from UNC Pembroke back for a preseason game. I just like helping, people that's done a lot for you. And I don't know if I'll get another opportunity to do it. So bringing UNC Pembroke, and they've got a great program. I mean, they've been nationally ranked in Division II. So, and the coaching staff there is, I think, outstanding. Karen is on the board of regents there, and so Regent Sampson keeps me informed on the progress of the basketball team. And plus, Regent Sampson kind of pushed this game that UNC Pembroke needs a little hit here. So why don't you consider playing them? And since Regent Sampson's the one that came up with the idea, I figured I better do it.
So instead of happy wife, happy life, happy Regent, happy life.
Happy wife, happy Regent is a happy life.
Thanks, Kelvin.
But so the other games, well, you guys know we're playing in the tournament in Charleston.
Right.
I've forgotten. I don't even know who's in that tournament. I think you guys tell me who's in the Charleston tournament. St. John's, LSU, is that the tournament?
I don't know. I'd
Yeah.
be lying
Yeah.
if I told you.
Yeah. But it's complete. I think all the contracts have either been signed or going to be signed. They should be signed. The American Athletic Conference schedule usually came out late August, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm assuming the Big 12 schedule. The matrix came out. The schedule matrix came out. So I saw that. So
Right.
Some teams you'll play once, some games you'll play twice. I can't even remember what they were.
You've got Dayton, St. John's, and Townsend in that Charleston, and then I guess Xavier is your crossover with the Big East.
Yeah, there you go. So instead of me teasing it, you tease it, Joseph.
Now there's some out there. We'll have Jeff get us up.
I know we're going to play 13. How about that?
I'll take that.
Coach, thank you very much for your time, sir. We do appreciate it.
Okay. You guys stay cool. Get out of the heat.